Here's the opening range recap for Wednesday, December 22nd. This one is a bit interesting and be a bit longer, so I apologize, but it's needed the explanation. So this is the Dow. Dow is the good one for us, didn't give us any problems as far as what I'm about to talk about. Trade 1 was a down here, so winner on both. Trade 2, winner on both. Trade 3, winner on both. Or excuse me, trade 3 was a winner on the 25, loss on the 50. Trade 4 was a win on the 25, win on the 50. And you can see it came down right to the 100. So we had a trade here, and it came right down to the pivot. When it does not come back 100%, which is from pivot to pivot, over time, usually you get it 5 or 6. I mentioned this in the ebook. And you'll get that 100% sometimes too. Anyways, nice bounce off of that area, so something to watch for. Now let's get to the crazy. All right, so first we're going to go look at the NQ. Now the NQ had a small opening range today in comparison to what the market has been lately, as did the Dow and as did the S&P, which can be dangerous. But anyway, here's the NQ. NQ trade 1 was here. Now, the issue here on the NQ and on the S&P is they both had trades where they missed an entry by a tick. And what I've mentioned before is I hate that, because if you don't follow through with that, so in this particular case, your trade number 2 would have been at 45, so 16,045. You got up to 16,044.75 on this bar here. So this should have been, or could have been, your second trade. And it's short. This would have been a 25% win and a 50% loss, but it missed it by a tick. So what you're seeing here on the chart here is the official. So the official second entry wasn't until here, where it finally hit 45, and usually in these cases, that's what happens. You'll lose that when it misses it by a tick, and so forth. So officially, NASDAQ had a 25% most safe trade here entry, and it won quickly and gave you your profits, which would have been 9.25 points. Or just under 200 bucks. Okay, but I don't trade it officially like this myself personally. You can do whatever you want, but I do, again, have the official statistics based on the actual numbers. But here, when it misses it by a tick and does exactly what it's supposed to do, so missed it by a tick and it got 100% back within 2 minutes. This is a 1-minute chart. So it should be something like this. Trade 2 here is a loss, and then trade 3 would not have been a most safe trade. So trade number 1 would have been a win for 25, loss for 50. Trade 2 would have been a win-win, and then trade 3 would have been a same win and a loss, but you would not have a most safe because this would be a win-win. So, but it didn't. This was the entry over here. Again, when it screws it up like that, because of the way that we're doing it in the streaks, I tend not to trade those until things fix themselves, which I'll get to in the S&P, because the S&P did the exact same thing, which screws things up. So in this case, officially, NASDAQ had 9.25 point wins. If you base it off the tick stuff, so if you enter a tick in the money or a tick before the pivot, you would have won this trade even though it wasn't an official trade. Okay, but officially 9.25 points for the NQ. S&P has even a longer aspect of screw-ups. There's only 5-point opening range, which is I don't think it's done that since mid-November, so it's been a while since it had that small of opening range, which when in those cases, it's very dangerous. Okay, so it's 5 points. So every 5 is 45-50, 50-50, 55-50, etc., etc. So trade number 1, win for both. Everything's good there. Trade 2 here. Trade 2 here missed it by 2 ticks. So again, my rule kind of is 1 tick. This case is 2 ticks, went it down, and it did its thing, whatever. This would be an official trade here. It gave the win on this particular, since you're only going for 1 1/4 points, which is really small as well. It got the win right here on this bar. So you got a win. Everything's good to go still. So you got your 25% win. Now, this bar here, again, you need 55-50. They got 55 1/4. So you missed it by a tick again. So, again, and you got a win, came down 100%. So, officially is lined up. So let me go through officially first. So officially, win-win, second trade, win-loss. Third trade was right here, which is a loss-loss. So this would be your first most safe entry, trade number 4 for the 25%, which lost. So you triple it up here, and you got your win. So you broke even on the 25%. Going to the and then you wouldn't have a trade up here. Trade, if you're going off of the 50%, you lost here trade number 2, you lost trade number 3. So this trade number 4 is your first most safe entry off of the 50%. You lost, so you entered a second contract here, which also lost. So you had additional 2 contracts here, and it got the 50%, which would give you a small loss on that particular sequence doing so. So you would end up with a break even or small loss on the 50%. You ended up with a break even on the 25%. Now, again, if you count the 1 tick misses as wins, which makes the difference and screws the whole thing up, this particular would be your third. Trade 3 would have been right here and would have been a win. So it would have been a win-win. So that would have been a win-win. So trade 4 would have not have been anything. And it would still be, this entry would be trade 4. So it would have been a loss-loss. So your first 25% most safe trade is right here. And it got you a win. So you would have made you would have made 5 ticks, which is $62 on that particular trade instead of breaking even. So again, trade number 3 is off of here, so that was a win. So this would have been your first 50% loss in a row, second 50% loss in a row, third 50% trade, which would have been your first most safe entry here, would have been right here, and you got your 50% very quickly, and you got 2.5 points. So because of that 1 tick out of the, or 1 tick miss on the entry, you went from a break-even trade on the 25% and having to have 4 contracts here on the 50% and having either a break-even or a small losing day. With that 1 tick misses, if you count those as the wins, which again, I don't necessarily count them as a win, I'm just not going to trade it as a loss like this, because I know in most cases when it misses it by a tick, goes and does the thing that it needs to do, especially if it goes and does the 100%, which would have been blue dot here to blue dot here. That's always going to be trouble. So instead of having a break even to small loss on the most safe for the S&P, you would have got out with 3.75 points, which is just under $200 in the S&P because of that one tick. So that one tick was the difference between break even / small loss to just about $200 of profit. And again, really no heat. This would have been your first 25%. You won the trade in a minute. This would have been your 50%, and you won in a minute. So you did just a world of difference because of that one tick. So I did not trade it as this. I did actually end up making money because I ended up doing it off of the fact that this was a win. So I traded this one as a 25% most safe. It wasn't a most safe, and then I also took this one. So I did all right on my personal trading, and that's the way that I normally handle that. Is I either change them to wins for the streak in this particular case, or I will just wait until things flush out and fix themselves as time goes on. So anyway, long video, sorry about that, but that's the deal. That one tick affected both the NQ today and the S&P. So if you traded him officially, the S&P gives you break even / smallish loss on the S&P. The NQ would give you just under 200 points or $200. So you'd basically be a wash in the trades. Otherwise, you made just under $200 if you traded the other way. So anyway, have a good day. Talk to you tomorrow.